You're listening to Dumb Down Life number 9.
Hello, welcome to Dumb Down Life number 9. This week it's myself, Doug, and Bobby. Hello.
Bobby in the background. Sounds like a police song, doesn't it? Bobby in the background.
Hello, Bobby.
Police, Bobby.
Oh, look at that. An English joke from an American.
Ah.
Hey, how impressive is it?
Wonders will never cease. Right. I'll start off with my first topic. I want to talk a bit about mispronunciations. And this sort of came to light.
Mispronunciations.
Exactly. This sort of came about from last week's show when I had real trouble saying the word Ebola. You see, I can never remember whether it's Ebola or Ebola, and you were very kind. Sorry?
Or Ebola.
Exactly. There's sort of 4 or 5 different ways you can say the name, and I kept sort of getting halfway through one of them and changing it to the other. So I've been listening out the last week for other mispronunciations, and I heard on the radio they were talking about Americans. Sorry about this, Bobby, but there's a couple of Americanisms where Rangers is a Scottish football team, and they won the Scottish Cup against a team called Kilmarnock, spelled Kilmarnock. And the American guy reporting it, I think it was on sort of ESPN or something like that, and he said, yep, Rangers have won the Scottish Cup against Kilmarnock.
Kilmarnock. I'm going to Kilmarnock.
So it just sort of made me think that all these Americans that like to say I'm Scottish American, I've got Scottish roots, they can't even say the names of the places they're supposed to have come from.
But then again, I mean, it's not just Americans who mispronounce things. One of my biggest pet hates for mispronunciation is the word envelope, because so many people say it as envelope, and that makes me grate my teeth every time I hear it. It doesn't envelope whatever it is that it's enveloping, it envelopes.
Well, yeah, and I'll have to admit, I do say it on purpose when you're around. I know how much it annoys you. One of the other ones is another documentary by yet another American, and it was on the longest day. So I don't have anything against Americans, Bobby. These are just the 2 that I heard this week. It's for the longest day, the Normandy landings, and there was a bridge that they had to take, and it was called the Pegasus Bridge. And as the narrator was giving the voiceover over footage of soldiers taking this bridge, he said, they managed to take the Pegasus Bridge.
Pegasus.
Okay, being at this moment.
Sorry?
He was just an idiot. I'm sorry. There's no Americanism there.
I mean, it's not even like it's it's Greek, isn't it? Pegasus, is it Greek?
Yeah.
Greek or Latin or something like that.
It's the winged horse, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's correct, yes.
I would have thought it was fairly well known that it's a Pegasus, not a Pegasus.
Pegasus.
Just imagine, oh, look at that nice Pegasus flying over there.
How did his co-presenters keep a straight face?
I've no idea. But yeah, I think I'm going to start listening out for these things and point them out whenever I hear them. And the other thing is really stupid statements that realistically there is no need for you to actually say, such as don't go outside in the rain, you're going to get wet. Because I'm coming out of Tesco one day this week. I've popped down to get my lunch, and I'm walking out, and there's these charity guys standing outside with the little collection tin, and he's collecting for a cancer research charity. And he's talking to some guy who's just sort of given a bit of a donation, and he's telling him a little bit about the charity. And he says, yeah, there's many different types of cancer. Terminal cancer, that's going to kill you.
That's a pretty stupid, obvious statement.
He says, you get that and you're dead.
Terminal cancer you make that at the airport. I don't know.
I just thought, what a stupid statement to say. Terminal cancer. The clue's in the name, isn't it?
Absolutely, you'd think so anyway. But then again, I mean, a lot of people don't pick up on clues too easily.
So I'm like I say, I'm going to start listening out for these things because I do think they're quite amusing, and people just don't realise that they're doing them.
Well, then again, there are other expressions that people use in everyday life that really, if you think about them, don't make a lot of sense in themselves. Has the cat got your tongue? I mean, really, how many times have you actually seen a cat eat a human tongue?
I've had my cat over my face a few times, but never my tongue, no.
Yeah, absolutely. And like your parents, remember when you were on those long road trips and you really, really had to pee badly, and your parents would say to you, well, you should have gone before we left. I mean, that's the thing. Well, if you'd have needed to go, you would have gone before you left. You're now 300 miles down the road, and you need to go now.
Yeah, I've been sitting in the car for 3 hours drinking drink. I need a wee.
And I mean, it's a stupid thing anyway, because on long journeys, all parents do is feed you full of soft drink. And what's worse for making a child need to pee than feeding it full of soft drinks?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, there's, it's. I think there's a lot of phrases, like you say, that people just have absolutely no idea really what they're saying.
Are we there yet? No, we're not there, because if we were there, we wouldn't still be travelling. So, of course, we're not there yet.
How about this one? It's always in the last place you look.
Oh, man, that one kills me every time.
No, I found it, but I think I'll keep looking for a bit longer.
Dear.
Oh dear. Right, shall we move on to a song?
Yes, let's.
Right, this is Greg Waters and Time Machine.
it's coming on back to you. Let's get a little closer, talking 1992. Playing hoops down in the park, just a killing time till dark. Doing parties after school, smoking reefer, acting cool. Everybody wanna be friends. Take me on back to the days when nobody could do no wrong. Let the summer bring the latest craze, so we can do it to it all year long. Take me on back to the days, say when nobody could do no wrong. Let the summer bring the latest craze, we can do it to it all year long.
There you go. That was Greg Waters with Time Machine. We'll move on to the feedback. Not that we've had any again, but if you'd like to contact us, you can email us on.
ddl.podshow@googlemail.com.
You can visit our website at ddl.podshow.com.
And our telephone number is 0207 1932 982. And finally, Bobby,
Or you can use the Twitter username Dumb Down Life.
And you can find that at twitter.com. Doug.
So it'll be my subject then. It's actually funny, I'm reading the show notes and I've got Men in Public, but that's not the subject I'm going to do this week. I'm not sure how much it's affecting over there, Lance, but over here we have this huge Hollywood writers' strike. And basically what they want is they want more money for the stuff that's downloaded online and stuff like that, and good luck to them as well. But there's a lot of hoo-ha over here about how exactly that's going to affect the Oscars, whether the Oscars are going to go ahead, whether or not they're going to just hand out awards and, I guess, FedEx them to the people that receive them, or if they're going to cancel it completely. Now, my question is, do we think the Oscars are going to go ahead? And quite frankly, do we really give a damn?
Well, didn't they cancel a show previous to this?
The Golden Globes.
The Golden Globes, Bobby says.
That was it. Didn't they just cancel that, though? And the news reporters just read out a list of who won what?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
And isn't that possibly a better way of doing it?
Well,
Yeah, but that's a crap show. I mean, honestly, the Golden Globes, they are the preliminary to the big shebang, which is actually the Academy Awards.
But I mean, my opinion on the Oscars and pretty much any award ceremony is basically, isn't it just an excuse for people to stand up there and slap each other on the back?
absolutely. I couldn't agree more, Lance.
I think of it more as a fashion show.
As a fashion show, yeah. What people are wearing.
Yeah, of course.
Couldn't we just have photos in the background when they're reading out the list?
Well, here's the thing. Here's what I really think. These folks are working to be actors and actresses and make and produce something that is their work. It's the equivalent of at your company function if there's an extra mile award or something like that. This is important to these people, and I think they deserve, their day in the sun. I really do.
So it's essentially sort of a self-advertising thing.
Well, you could look at it as advertising, but I really think of it as these people deserve these awards. They deserve to be recognized for the work that they do.
So the $30 million pay packet doesn't recognize them for the work they do then?
Well, you could argue that with the $100,000 pay packet that I'm sure my boss makes that I don't make,
Now, I don't watch the Oscars at all, really, to be honest. So I'm not really aware of what all the awards are. But don't most of the awards go to the actors and the directors and probably the special effects guys?
Well, you've got to remember the really important awards, like best hot dog served by a catering vendor, and best public toilet provided by a public toilet provider. I mean, they're really important awards, and they get overlooked far too much. I'm sorry, that was me being facetious.
Yeah, I
You know
mean,
what? I do think that the little man gets ignored a little bit. In the Oscars, if you have never watched the Oscars, they always have this little 5-minute complimentary thing where they sort of show the award show behind the award show, where the people that really did all the hard work get their awards, but they don't get the fancy red carpet bullshit, you know?
I mean, this is the thing that annoys me really, because I mean, you've got Tom Cruise. Yeah, he gets paid 30 million for a show, and then he gets to stand up and get this nice golden award. But there's 1,000 people work on a movie, and
Excuse me. Tom Cruise has never won an Academy Award.
okay,
Can we use somebody that really has won an Academy Award?
okay, bad choice.
Lance,
Yeah.
Lance, between you and I, Bobby's a little anal about the Academy Awards.
Okay. Shall I just stop talking now?
Has won an Academy Award. Tell us somebody who's won one. Jodie Foster.
Jodie Foster has won at least 2 Academy Awards.
There we go.
But I know your opinion of Jodie, and she's a pretentious bitch, according to you. So.
Absolutely, yes, absolutely she is.
Yeah, and she's won 2 Academy Awards. So, you know, it's a pretentious bitch pageant of people dressed in fancy gowns and tuxedos.
Can I ask a question? How the hell did you two get married?
We went to the beach and a guy in a Bahama Joe shirt and shorts said, "You're married."
Yeah, we had to do it twice, actually, which really means we're in love. Seriously.
You did it twice.
Yeah, North Carolina law, a marriage has to be performed in a sanctioned building. And of course, the beach is neither a building nor is it sanctioned. So we essentially did the basic ceremony in the sanctioned building, which is like 200 yards from the beach. We then walked down onto the beach and we did the marriage ceremony again, so that we were married on the beach.
So you can't marry more than one person, but you have to get married twice.
Yeah, I mean, I dare say if we'd have wanted to marry our cow or our sheep or something, they'd have done that on the beach happily.
That's just in West Virginia.
Okay, moving swiftly on before we start pulling apart other people. We're going to move on to Who Whoops Who now. And we have 3 people this week. And our first couple, which is kind of ironic if you think about it. Our first couple is Derrick Accorah from Most Haunted. And if you haven't seen him, he was, once upon a time, he was their, he was their medium. And he left the show. There are different reasons why. But anyway, he was replaced by a gentleman called David Wells. So, the first one is Derrick Accorah versus David Wells. Who whoops who?
Well, I'll apologise for the joke right now, but David Wells is much more of a large than a medium.
Oh, that was good. You're witty today, Lance. I like it. You stay.
It's because I've been up for about 20 hours and I'm absolutely knackered. Driven out 200 miles to get my daughter. Yeah, I'm a bit tired, so maybe the brain's working overtime and I'm not thinking before I'm speaking. Right, Derrick and David. It's a tough one actually, because it's kind of handbags at dawn, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's handbags at dawn. They are both, how should we put it politically correctly?
Effeminate. Yeah, they're effeminate, that's for sure.
Yes, definitely. Now, I mean, David Wells is a big fellow. There's no doubt about that. He's probably, I don't know, 6'2", 6'3", probably a good 220 pounds. Whereas Derrick Accorah, although I think he's probably somewhere around the 6 foot mark, he's a bit like a beanpole. So if you're looking on pure weight and strength, then clearly it's David Wells. But there's something about Derrick Accorah that I think, as nice as he appears on the show, with the way he loves to be so gentle and say, "What's that, sir? What's that, sir?" I actually think he's probably quite a nasty bastard behind the scenes. So I think you might find Derrick Accorah Accorah is a bit of a dirty fighter.
You got to remember, Derrick Accorah is a Scouser.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So he'll just give him a Chelsea smile or something, which of course isn't at Liverpool, but the name's still.
And I think a lot of it would depend on which particular spirit Derrick chose to get possessed by at the time of the fight.
Well, wasn't Sam an Indian guide?
Egyptian.
Was he Egyptian?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that poo-poos my argument.
It's not far from India, I don't suppose.
No, I
different
guess.
type of Indian. Hi, how are ya? Hi, how are ya?
Oh, Lance, you're too funny. I like it. Okay, so who do we think? Derrick Accorah or David Wells?
I really don't know. I think David Wells is probably a bit too soft, to be honest. So I'd probably lean towards Derrick.
Okay, well, if you want to lean towards Derrick, it's your choice.
I don't particularly want to lean towards either of them, really. I'll stand with my back in the corner.
Okay, moving on to our next couple then. Now this one, I'm actually going to step back and I'm going to allow you to discuss this with Bobbi, Lance, because this one particularly appeals to the both of you. And this is the prolific horror writer Stephen King versus the, well, I suppose you'd call him a singular horror writer, Bram Stoker. So, Stephen King versus Bram Stoker. Who whoops who?
Bram Stoker wrote more than one book.
Well, Stephen King has written a lot more books.
Well, yeah, this is very true. Oh, God. I don't know. Bram Stoker's sort of, although he's not English, I get the impression he's a bit of a sort of an English gentleman, whereas Stephen King looks pretty rough and ready, doesn't he? I think in his younger days he could probably handle himself in a fight.
Well, he's got this funny little eye thing going on. I think he's a little wacky, and I think he would probably beat the shit out of anybody. Yeah, he run him over with his car because he's already been sued for hitting somebody and run.
Has he really?
I mean, you got to remember, after he did the hit and run thing, he then went and bought the land and the double wide from the guy that hit him with the van, took a crane there, as I understand it, and completely destroyed it. So something tells me that inside Stephen King there's a really, really dark person desperate to get out.
I've never read any of his books. I think that was fairly obvious, to be fair.
Well, Doug likes to say that he is a little wordy in his books, but he can describe a drop of water in 10 pages or less.
The thing that sort of does kind of annoy me a little bit about King is he'll give you the entire backstory of a character that lasts 2 seconds before the big bad comes and kills it.
Oh yeah, he's a character writer. He likes to write about people and behaviors of people. But in this conversation, I wanted to talk about Salem's Lot because Salem's Lot reminds me of the most of the comparison between him and Bram Stoker, which is it's a vampire story. I don't know if you ever read that one or not, but
more than one occasion.
Okay, I'd just like to interject here and apologise to our listeners for letting loose two complete nerds on your eardrums. I will try and keep them under control, and should they get out of control, I'll step in and try and salvage it.
Well, I definitely was a young vampire fan, and I'm probably a vampire nerd, yeah.
You were young and you liked vampires, or you like young vampires?
It's been a disease since I was about 12, so. But, we're old people now, so we'll move on.
To be fair, I still have the obsession.
You're grown now, okay?
Well, not a lot. I'm probably about the same height as I was when I was 13, to be fair.
Yeah, a little more bald, though.
Oh, a lot more bald, yeah.
In terms of who would kick whose ass, I think that Stephen King, being alive, would probably kick the dead guy's ass.
Bobbi, you beat me to it.
So, Lance, you agree with that? You think Stephen King would be the winner?
Absolutely, yeah. Actually, Bobbi beat me to it. That was going to be my killer strike as well. Bram Stoker's dead.
Okay, excellent. Well, in that case, I will salvage our listeners from the nerd attack, and we'll move on to our next two, who is the transvestite comedian Eddie Izzard versus the unbelievably effervescent Lee Evans. So, Eddie Izzard versus Lee Evans. Who whoops who?
I don't know, but Eddie would do it in fantastic makeup.
Wouldn't he? He'd look great doing it as well in his high heels. But then again, you know, Lee Evans, I've always had this thing about Lee Evans that I reckon when he's not... Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. I did rather lead myself into that, didn't I? And, of course, you had to find a level and lower it. Lee Evans is, I think, off stage. I reckon he could be a really nasty fuck. Not mean, I don't mean, but I mean somebody that can really handle himself. Because there's a couple of sketches he does on stage where he's, like, pretending to be angry. You can see that killer look. Whereas Eddie, I just think Eddie's a nice guy.
Nice guy, Eddie. I have to say I probably agree with you on that one as well, which doesn't leave much for debate. But I think Lee Evans, like you say, I've seen him on a few shows, and he does look like he could handle himself. He's either a bloody good actor, or because he does have that look in his eye, doesn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. So we think Lee Evans would probably win, but whatever Eddie did, he'd do it well and look great doing it.
Absolutely. But then again, I mean, Eddie Izzard's quite a big guy, to be fair. I was kind of waiting for a response.
You were waiting for a schoolboy humour response there, weren't you?
Yeah.
I think Eddie would kill him with his 3-inch stilettos.
See, that's the point, isn't it? Yeah. Anyway.
There's that dead air we spoke about, Lance.
So we're reckoning, Derrick Accorah wins the Derrick and David. Stephen King wins Stephen and Bram Stoker. And
correct.
Lee Evans beats Eddie Izzard.
Absolutely. That's exactly what we think. And if, of course, any of our listeners, assuming, of course, we have any listeners, have any opinions on these who whoops who subjects, we'd really love to hear from her. Hear from fucking Bob.
Hear from him, her, whatever, we don't care.
Basically, stop listening and start typing. Send us an email, let us know what you think.
Nice to know that production values are remaining the really high level that we set 9 weeks ago. Aren't we supposed to get better with the practice?
Did you hear that?
No, I didn't say that again.
I said, I think you should ask for donations at this stage.
Yeah, donations of talent and skill.
Yeah, you think we get better in time, don't you? How wrong you were. Right, let's save the listeners from any more of our waffle, and we'll go into another song. This is Kid Brother and An Ironless Taste.
And that was Kid Brother with An Ironless Taste. And you can find the link to this song and all the other songs we played today on our website, along with our contact details, which are Lance.
You can email us on ddl.podshow@googlemail.com.
You can find us on our website at ddl.podshow.com.
You can call us on the phone on 0207 1932
And finally, Bobbi.
And our Twitter username is dumbdownlife.
And it just leaves us to say thanks very much for listening, and please get in touch with the show. We'd really love to hear what you think about us. That's it for another week.